Okay, in our last class, we had seen that there are various sources through which the microorganisms can gain entry into the milk, isn't it? Maybe through the milking personnel, it can be from the animal itself, it can be from the surrounding, it can be from the water that is being used for the process, it can be from the utensils, from the machine. These are all the places from where the milk, the organisms can gain entry into the milk. Yes or no? Okay, so once the organisms gain entry into the milk, will they be able to survive in the milk? Yes, definitely. Why they can survive in the milk? We have seen, or we have studied in our previous classes, that milk is a complete food, is called as complete food. Why? Because it contains all the nutrients, majority of the nutrients that is required for the survival. Yes, it contains sugar from which organisms get energy. Sugar is getting broken down through EMP pathway and they can get energy, ATP, isn't it? Microorganisms require moisture, they require humidity, they require water, and milk contains high amount of water. It has proteins, it has vitamins, minerals, macro nutrients are there, micronutrients are also there. So you name the nutrient and you get it in the milk. It is rich in nutrients. So that is why once the organisms gain entry into the milk through the various sources, they happily grow in the milk. Easily they will grow in the milk. Okay, organisms will gain entry, they will grow in the milk. What will they do? They will start using the lactose sugar that is present in the milk. They will start utilizing, or they will start proteolysis, that is breakdown of proteins in the milk. They will start breaking down of lipids in the milk, isn't it? So these are the things and literally what will happen, they will start releasing out acids. They are metabolites into the milk only, they cannot come out to release their metabolites and go back into the milk, isn't it? So they will release out the metabolites where? In the milk only. So milk will now slowly start losing the sugar, and accumulation of metabolites will start happening in the milk, isn't it? So milk will start curdling now because of excess amount of lactic acid in milk. So it serves as a medium for the growth of microorganisms. Why? Because of the nutrients, because of water that it has. And also the temperature that it is kept in. So there are some organisms who can survive even at cold temperature. Cycrophilic organisms easily will grow there. Even at room temperature, if you keep milk at room temperature, easily you will find after some time milk is getting spoiled if you don't boil it, isn't it? So milk will get spoiled because of microorganisms. So today we will be studying what are those microorganisms that is present in milk. Generally, we can categorize them as these. Okay, Eubacteriaceae. Eubacteriaceae consists of a major chunk of organisms. Majority of the microorganisms that is present in milk are the Eubacteriaceae members. Okay. The next coming to yeast and Eubacteriaceae, they will be beneficial also. That is, that they can convert milk to milk products, milk to curd or anything else, or they can come into the category where they will result in spoilage of milk. So those things we will be studying. The next category, the next thing is yeast and molds. These are the second highest organisms present in the milk. The majority is Eubacteriaceae. The second highest is yeast and molds. Okay, you would have found that there are some organisms that will help in ripening of cheese, which you will be studying. There are some organisms who help in the production of some of the milk products. At the same time, you will find these group of organisms who also result in spoilage of milk. Okay, so that also we would be studying, and very trace amounts of viruses, very negligible. So coming to the first category, that is Eubacteriaceae. What are we studying now? First category, that is Eubacteriaceae. We just now saw three categories, isn't it? So first category is Eubacteriaceae. So in Eubacteriaceae, I want you to write down all these things that is displayed on the board here, on the slide. Don't take the screenshot. I will check that. Okay, under Eubacteriaceae, what are the organisms? Lactobacteriaceae, Micrococci, please write down. The spelling is displayed on the board. Enterobacteriaceae, I will go really slowly, but then you have to write down. Pseudomonaceae, Bacillinaceae, Vibrionaceae, Brucellaceae, Mycobacteriaceae, Cornybacteriaceae, Rickettsiaceae, and other miscellaneous microorganisms. Okay, I will repeat all. Lactobacilliaceae, Micrococci, Enterobacteriaceae, Pseudomonaceae, Bacillinaceae, Vibrionaceae, Brucellaceae, Mycobacteriaceae, Cornybacteriaceae, Rickettsiaceae, and miscellaneous microbes. So these are the organisms who come under Eubacteriaceae members. Is that clear to everybody? Yes, did you write down? Did you write down?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Moving on to each one in detail. Lactobacillus, the first one will be Lactobacilliaceae, Bacteriaceae. Okay, so we will start with that. Each one we are going to study in detail. Lactobacilliaceae, lactic acid bacteria, called as lactic acid bacteria. Please make a note of it. They are lactic acid bacteria. It is also called as LAB. Here I have written small LAB. Please make it capital L, capital A, capital B. Lactic acid bacteria. You can be asked in the exam what is LAB. So you should write these properties. These are the group of organisms who are gram positive in nature. Okay, see the properties are mentioned here. They are gram positive. They are non-spore forming organisms. And they are fermentative. They are able to ferment the lactose sugar. Remember students that not all organisms can break down lactose. Okay, so these are the organisms, they can break down lactose sugar. Okay, the example for this is Lactobacillus. I have written here, they are the organisms who can ferment carbohydrates. They can break down fatty acids, amino acids. Okay, these can be categorized into two forms here basically. Now who are the two forms? Homofermentative and heterofermentative. Please write down. They can be categorized as two things, homofermentative and heterofermentative. Now what is the meaning of this homofermentative? See from the name itself, homofermentative, which means I told you these are the organisms who can use the lactose sugar. And which sugar is present in milk? Lactose only, isn't it? So they will use lactose sugar, but they will release out lactic acid only. Okay, their end product is lactic acid. They release out lactic acid from the lactose. So those organisms can be categorized as homofermentative. The next group is heterofermentative. Hetero means what? Many. So these are the group of organisms who obviously will use the lactose sugar. That's why they are coming in this group. But along with lactic acid, they release out other components also. What are the other components? They release out lactic acid. Along with that, they release out acetic acid. They release out alcohol, also carbon dioxide. Okay, now these are the group of organisms. Heterofermentatives are the group of organisms, generally, not always, which result in the spoilage of milk. Okay, homofermentatives generally come under the category who are beneficial, that is, who help in converting milk to milk product. Is that clear to everybody? Yes. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Only one yes, ma'am. What about others?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
ಹಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆನೆ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ರಿಓಪನ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. Okay. So under this, Oh, Bhartira. Okay. Under this, you can categorize. There are two groups here: Streptococci and Lactobacillus. Now, how they are categorized into two groups here? Because this is based on shape. The previous one was based on what do they produce. That is, they produce only lactic acid? That then they are called homofermentative. If they produce more, like many components apart from lactic acid, other components, then they are heterofermentative. So, based on what do they produce, they can be categorized into two. Now, this is same Lactobacillus members only, Lactobacteriaceae members only. Based on the shape, you are categorizing them into two. Please write down. Based on shape, you are categorizing them into two. What is that? Streptococci is the first one. Lactobacilliaceae is the second one. Can you tell me what will be the shape of Streptococci? Anybody?
Round shape.
Focus shape, ma'am.
Cocci.
Focus.
Okay, very good, very good. So that's why the name has there, isn't it? Cocci. Okay, Lactobacilliaceae means what shape it will be?
Rod shape, ma'am.
Excellent, very good. Okay, so Streptococci are those organisms who are cocci, spherical in shape, and streptococci, strepto meaning they are present in chains. Okay, Staphylococcus are the organisms who are present in clusters. Now that we are not worried about, we are worried about the Streptococci. These are the organisms who are present in chains. Again, gram-positive, non-spore forming. Remember this. Okay, these are the same properties hold good. What we saw in the previous slide. Okay, non-spore forming, gram-positive. Fine. Okay, example for the Streptococci. Lactococcus. I have written here the first one. L. lactis. Now what does that mean? Don't write Lactobacillus. No. Lactococcus because it is coming under cocci. Okay. So Lactococcus lactis. Lactococcus cremoris. Please write. These are the examples of Streptococci. Very, very important. This question is asked every year in the exam. Microorganisms present in milk. Streptococcus thermophilus. Streptococcus thermophilus and Leuconostoc. Now coming to the Lactobacilliaceae part, that is, they are rod-shaped organisms. Again, non-spore forming, but they can use the lactose sugar. So Lactobacillus casei. This is Lactobacillus casei. Lactobacillus acidophilus. Okay, Lactobacillus acidophilus. Don't get confused between Lactobacillus and Lactococcus. Lactococcus will come here. These group of organisms. Okay, Bacillus will come here. These group of organisms who are rod shaped. Lactobacillus thermophilus. Here also there is Lactobacillus thermophilus. Here it is Streptococcus thermophilus. Again, don't get confused between the two, please. Okay, Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Listeria. Now these casei, acidophilus, these are some of the organisms who are beneficial. We will be studying how they are beneficial, what are they going to do. Okay, moving on to the next set. We finished with the Lactobacteriaceae. Moving on to the second set of organisms. Who are which is that second set? Micrococci, the second group. The first slide that I showed you, in that there were many organisms. Second group is Micrococci. Okay, now these are the organisms. They are predominantly present in food. Now they are spherical in shape. Okay, and more or less they will be present in pairs, or they can be present in tetrads. It depends. Okay, these are the organisms who are non-motile and they are gram-positive aerobic in nature. Please write down these points. I'm going very, very, very slowly. Please write down. I want everybody to write down. Gram-positive aerobic in nature. These are the organisms who are thermoduric. What do you mean by thermoduric? They can survive higher temperatures. So if the pasteurization has not happened properly, okay, these organisms can be present, can still survive. Okay, there is a particular temperature, there is a particular time that is required for pasteurization that you have to supply. Now, if that does not happen properly, these organisms can be still present in the milk, okay, and will definitely spoil. These are the organisms basically who are, in that part or in that cadre who result in spoilage category. Okay, and these are the organisms. Generally you can find them in the milk products, like you can find them in the condensed milk, sweet and condensed milk. And I had also spoken to you about the whey protein, isn't it? When the milk will start coagulating, there is something called as, when milk coagulates, the water content that comes out, that is called as a whey protein. So these organisms, when the milk gets coagulated, when the protein, the whey protein gets separated up, these organisms will generally be present in that part of the milk. Okay, example, Staphylococcus saprophyticus, Staphylococcus aureus, Staphylococcus epidermidis. These are the examples. For each category, you should remember at least one example. So is this clear? Is this group of organisms clear to you? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, shall we move on? I will be asking questions. Shall we move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay, moving on to the next category, very, very important, that is Enterobacteriaceae group. Enterobacteriaceae means what? Entero means what? Where have you found this? These organisms are traveling with you from first year. Where have you seen these organisms?
In the intestine.
Yes, very good. These are the organisms generally present in the intestine. Maybe they could be beneficial or they could be harmful. One of the very, very, very common organism, that is E. coli. Okay, so let's look at the properties of these organisms. They are gram-negative rods. Okay, and these are the organisms who can survive easily in milk because they have the capacity to break down lactose sugar, and you know that is only sugar present in milk. Easily they can break down lactose sugar. Okay, except one group, that is Proteus is one example, which do not, it is non-lactose fermenting, but other organisms coming under Enterobacteriaceae, like your E. coli, that is Escherichia coli, Salmonella, Aerobacter, all these organisms are the ones who can easily break down the lactose sugar and release out lactic acid. Okay, so very important group of organisms. Now E. coli, how will this organism reach into the milk? That's because E. coli is called as an indicator organism for sanitation, or this organism generally is associated with water. Okay, water gets contaminated. If the water gets contaminated with sewage water, and that same water you are using during the milking process, we saw what are the different processes, isn't it? So if this water is used during the milking process, which contains E. coli or any one of these organisms, easily E. coli gains entry into the milk and they can happily survive there. Is it okay? And one important thing is, E. coli is an indicator organism here for sanitation. Please remember, do not write E. coli. Okay. Do not write this organism, indicator organism for pasteurization. No. I still remember once one question was asked, indicator organism for pasteurization, and half of the students, more than half of the students, have written E. coli. E. coli is not the indicator of organism for pasteurization. It is an indicator organism, but for what? It is for sanitation. Okay, it is to check the quality of water. It is not the indicator organism for pasteurization. Pasteurization, there is another organism. I will be talking about that today only. But it is not the indicator organism for pasteurization. Please, please, please. I have written here indicator organism for sanitation. Please put it in your minds. Do not write E. coli. Okay. The other organisms include Salmonella. What does it cause? You can find that Salmonella generally causes, typhoid, Salmonella typhi. Okay, all these organisms generally gains entry into milk through the fecal matter, That is again through the water. The other set of organisms, before moving forward students, I just want to tell you that if we get logged off, please log in back using the same link. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
ಒಂದ್ 3 ಸಲ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Okay, this next set of organisms, that is Pseudomonaceae. Now these organisms, Pseudomonaceae, these organisms, they have an particular characteristic feature, that is they produce pigments, fluorescent pigments, different pigments they produce. Okay, example for this is Pseudomonas fluorescens, Pseudomonas putrefaciens, Pseudomonas nigrifaciens. These are some of the organisms. Now if this organism is, suppose I give you a nutrient agar plate and I ask you, please identify whether it is Pseudomonas or not. Just by looking into the plate, you can tell whether it is Pseudomonas or not. How? Because it, as I told, it produces pigments, and the pigments, they just release out into the medium, and the entire medium will become fluorescent green or fluorescent color because of the pigment they release out. The entire medium changes the color. Okay, so that's how you identify this, but you don't conclude. Okay, now what is the importance of this organism in the milk? These are the organisms, they grow well at the lower temperatures, and you know that milk generally stored at you know that milk is generally stored at lower temperatures in the refrigerator, all these places, isn't it? Below 8 degrees centigrade it is stored. So these are the organisms can be present at lower temperature. They can survive at lower temperature. They will not die. From where do they gain entry into the milk? These organisms can be present in equipments, the milking equipments, the utensils that is used. Okay, they are also present in the soil. So from the soil also, I told you how from the soil the milk organisms can gain entry, isn't it? So these are the organisms present in soil. So from soil also they can gain entry. These are the organisms who generally result in something called as proteolysis, and they show lipolytic activity also, which means what? Majoritively, more than the breaking down of lactose. Yes, the more important thing that they do here is they have a proteolytic activity, which means they break down proteins. You know that milk has proteins, isn't it? So these organisms, they break down proteins. They also have the property of breaking down lipids. So because of this property, these generally they are found in, not in milk, but milk products, which like your butter, cream, condensed milk, etc. The thicker part of the milk, you will not talk about milk, but then the thicker part of the milk. Okay. Basilaceae, I think it's almost time up. There's no point in joining back. Again, we have in the third hour, I will continue there. But before that, I will take attendance. Just 1 minute. I will stop sharing the screen.